Warning, this video will contain spoilers for The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 14, Twice as Far, so do be cautious as you go ahead and watch this video. What is going on, everyone? This is NinjaGeek here, and we are bringing you another episode of The Walking Dead Reviews, bringing it back this week with Twice as Far. And before we go ahead, I would like to say that I do have a little bit of cough from being sick last week, so excuse me if I have to cough a little bit here in the video. Hopefully I can edit all that out so you don't have to hear that, but let's get right into talking about the episode. So a couple episodes back, we saw Morgan building something, and we didn't really know what he was building, but it all comes together in this episode where he's actually trying to build an entire cell block so that instead of going out and killing everyone, there's another option that should be had there. And, Rick doesn't see that, he just brushes it off, but Morgan sees this in his own mind that there's another option besides killing everyone. So we finally see his mindset going through here, and we'll just have to wait and see how this cell plays up, because I feel like they wouldn't have included it if it didn't have a purpose. So maybe the cell is going to be used some part later on, either within the next season or within the end of this season. We don't know obviously yet, but we'll have to wait and see about that one. In the many past episodes, we've seen a lot of key main characters, and we've seen a lot of intense action scenes, which are some of the greatest within The Walking Dead, the entire show. But this episode kind of took a step away from that and showed us the two characters that don't really have those features, and that would be obviously Denise and Eugene. Denise has the smarts as a doctor to know what drugs people need to be able to survive. She knows how to survive in that way. Eugene knows how to survive by his skill set of using different abilities and tactics that get him through life, but both struggle in key surviving of fighting off walkers and enemies in this world. So that's where they lacked, and I feel like they wanted to brighten the experience up for themselves so they know how to do this, but show the audience that they can and are capable of doing this, because both of them stepped themselves up this episode, and in episodes past they have done so too, but in this episode they wanted to show that just by themselves they could step themselves up to become a person that can take on this new world. Starting off with Eugene and Abraham, Eugene wants to really show Abraham how his skills have been changing over the past couple of even seasons of maybe not seasons, but definitely over this whole past season of season 6, and how he's trying to learn to be more like him in the fighting style of way. Abraham tries to tell him otherwise, like, your only skill set is good for knowledge and not fighting, and that's what my skill set's good for, and you just have to get used to it. But Eugene's plan was to go to a facility where he can actually make more rounds. And to this is a genius move in everyone's mind, in my mind, but in Abraham's mind, this is like, now that's some next level thinking. That's some out of the box thinking, because, they're obviously going to end up eventually someday running out of ammunition for their guns, and if Eugene can figure out the supplies and how to make rounds, this is just an amazing feature that an asset that they can have. But what ends up happening is they end up running into a walker in there. Eugene calls dibs on it, and Abraham ends up saving Eugene's life, and they end up separating from there because Eugene really wanted to get that and showed that he could step up to Abraham to the plate, but it just didn't work out that way. But on Denise's side, she tried to encourage Daryl to go with her out on a run. She says that she knows a pharmacy where they can get a lot of medical supplies, and she's right. But Daryl hesitates at first, but then he eventually decides to go along. They have a fight in the middle area, deciding whether they should go on the tracks or follow the road. Daryl wants to follow the road because it's more straightforward than following tracks. He doesn't want to do that. So Rosita and they all split up, and they get together. They finally eventually manage to get to the pharmacy. And inside there, when they're looking around, Denise sees a bunch of stuff. First of all, she sees her name on one of the name tag things you can get for your keychain, which is significant because she picks up her name, which is normally what you would do for one of those keychain things with your name on it. But the fact that they actually show it on screen after, and it just pulls together with what ends up happening afterwards. But inside the store anyways, she ends up with they all end up hearing like a thumping, and Denise goes to check it out because she wants to try and be brave for once. This is like Eugene's moment where he wanted to be brave and step it up. Well, she wants to do it here, so she goes in there, and there's like there's a walker that's lying on the ground, which doesn't look too pleasant. He looks like he's been there since forever, and he's just been rotted. It's just a bunch of bones. But the thing that really got to her was like this blood in the sink with like a little baby shoe, and she kind of relates that back to like the pictures that she might have seen on the counter, and she just kind of steps back in scaredness and just decides not to kill that walker and step outside for a breath. So she knew that that wasn't her moment. But then later on, after they decide to leave, or obviously they get all the supplies and they leave the pharmacy, she spots a cooler in a car when they take the train tracks back to the car, or the truck, I should say, to go back to Alexandria. And she wants to actually go and get the cooler, and Daryl and Rosita obviously say, screw that, what's the point of doing that? It ain't worth it. And it makes sense why it isn't worth it, because it's only a tiny little cooler. It's not like you're going to find much supplies in there, maybe enough to last one day, if anything at all is even in there. But Denise decides to go ahead and stay and fall behind and take on this walker by herself. Now, we know she wanted to do this to step up and show them that they could take it on, and she obviously lives too, but it was a stupid decision, and I agree. Between Daryl and Rosita, between them talking it out and trying to tell Denise how stupid of a decision that she just made, it is stupid, because I know that she goes through her whole speech and says that you need to, they show that they're tough enough, but she's sad at them because they're not good enough people if they don't step up to the plate and just destroy everything they come across. And in my opinion, you could think what you want, and obviously Denise thought what she wanted, but survival is not going and causing trouble. Survival is staying alive. That's the whole key to it. And in survival, you have to make decisions if you want to or should attack someone, or you shouldn't attack someone. But Denise feels that you should, just because you're strong enough, and that's not what I believe in the case. And obviously then we see her get shot with an arrow by, quote, accident by Dwight. We see Dwight return into the show, and I knew that he was coming back anyways, because he had Daryl's crossbow, and now Daryl actually finally reunited with it at the end of it, but I knew that he was coming back. I knew that wasn't the end of Dwight, what we've seen of him from season 5, and or the beginning. It was the beginning of season 6, something like that. Yeah, I knew that wasn't the end of it. His face looked a little bit burned, so something obviously happened, but he's still alive. And it's just a giant fight scene that goes on right here. Denise takes the arrow, and one thing I will say about Denise is I didn't agree with her opinion on that, but we didn't really know much about her either in terms of her general life. But it's been a great time and a great asset to have on the show as we get to find out more about her family and her past and what she's done. So she's been great on the show, great actor in general, and it's going to be sad to just see her go, which we obviously did. But then, during the entire fight scene, getting on to like when Dwight's group attacks, we don't know much on their group, how he found them either, but Dwight obviously joined this group or whatever. He's obviously this leader, and this is the thing that really got me, because Eugene and obviously Abraham, we just saw them split up like not even a half an hour ago, and Eugene spots Abraham behind cover, waiting to either make a move or something like that, and they're basically trapped. There's like nothing that they can do, so Eugene points Abraham out. Instead of waiting there to see what would happen next or something, Eugene just says, you should go find my man over there in the bush that's hiding stupidly behind there, just so that he can distract them. Now, when this first happened, I was like, okay, Eugene, why the hell would you just do that? I mean, I know that you don't really like Abraham now, but you didn't have to try and kill him. And then I was like, wait a second, no, he did this on purpose. There's no way that he would just do that. that quickly, and sure enough, he did do it on purpose, and then comes the dick bite. Eugene just went in full on, and all hell broke loose. There was so much fighting that went on. Great fight scene. Obviously, probably not the best one in the entire show. That was probably when Rick's group killed the Saviors. That was probably my favorite out of a lot of scenes there, especially in just Season 6, if we're just talking about Season 6. But, great fight scene, and it led Dwight's group to actually flee of what was left of his group. There was probably like 5 men left, so not a lot. They took a lot of them out, and they had to, I think they obviously carried Denise's body back because they showed Daryl burying the body afterwards, but they also carried Eugene back because Eugene took a bullet in the process. So he really stepped up to Abraham at the end, showed him that he was man enough to do what he did. He took a bullet. He saved the entire group. So sometimes it's the smarts that matter and not the fighting. And I think Eugene stepped up fully to what he saw he can do. And I think he took advantage of that situation in a perfect way. I have definitely seen the most stupidest thing to ever be on the show in this season, in this one episode. I don't know if it's the most entire stupidest thing I've ever seen. There could probably be some other pretty stupid moments within the show. Let me know down below about what you think could be a stupid moment, but here's what I think is a stupid thing to do. So remember back in Season 4 when Carol got kicked out by Rick because she killed Karen and David for her own reasons, but there was a reason. It's not like she just mass murdered them just for no reason at all. I mean, yeah, you could say that and see that, but there was a kind of a reason behind it, which some may agree or disagree on. That's not what I'm here to talk about. But anyway, she got kicked out, and she ended up finding them again back when she basically essentially saved all of them from Terminus, and that was a great moment. She joined the group back. Now she wants to leave this time for good. Like, she is actually making the decision to leave by herself. Why? I just don't understand what her thinking is of just saying, oh yeah, first of all, where's she gonna go? It's not like she's saying, oh yeah, I want to leave because I have, like, family in here, so I want to see if I can find them. It's not like the beginning of the apocalypse. There's nothing left. It's not like she can just go anywhere. If anything, I'd rather be with a group of well-armed people that know what they're doing than just on my own and potentially not killing anyone else because she's trying to be like Morgan in a way now, where she doesn't want to kill anyone. And if she's on her own like that, especially with potential more threats and saviors out there, that's not going to end well. And I liked Carol. I said last episode that she could have been a redeeming person. She was starting to grow on me again, as we've seen from last episode where she had her own episode. But now, just her trying to leave. I don't know if it's just another story, like plot, like they needed something else before we get to see what happens with Negan, the actual Negan. But, I didn't know if that was the case either, but I don't understand what went through Carol's mind, and that's the first thing. And the second thing is that, like I said, she'll know how to fight, and there's different and sort of different enemies out there, and she could potentially even run into Negan, and maybe that could be another cause of how they end up finding Negan again, because now they think they've killed all the saviors, but maybe Carol could start something else, as we've seen from next week's episode premiere, a sneak peek, I should say, of the episode next week, where it's just like random blood, and we see Carol's rosary beads, so we don't know what that's about either. And a third thing that I would like to mention is she's just leaving, and that obviously shows that she doesn't care about anyone in Alexandria, because if she did care, she would care about Rick and Carl and the people that she's known since Season 1, but she obviously does not care about those people, which shows a lot about her character moving forward. But in my opinion, overall, I think Carol's a person that you just can't trust anymore. She's becoming a Morgan, which isn't a bad thing, because Morgan isn't a bad person. He just has different thoughts, but she's becoming a more feared Morgan. At least Morgan will fight to make sure and protect yourself from not killing anyone, but Carol just seems like she doesn't even want to do that anymore. She just wants complete peace. And like I said in the sneak peek, we see some sort of blood going on, so maybe, obviously, she did leave, because we see that going on within the next week's episode and stuff, and we don't know what's going to end up with that, but it's just, I don't know, I wouldn't trust Carol anymore, but that's it For this week's episode, let me know what you think about Carol in the comments below, and all your thoughts about everything that happened this week. Like if you did enjoy, and subscribe for more content. As always, this is NinjaGeek. I'll see you on next week's episode. I'm out, and peace.